Well, if you're not first, you're last is what I think Ricky Bobby said. Great movie. But all that to be said, let's talk about First Texas Homes today. Or also in some markets, Harwood Homes or Gallery Custom Homes. All three interchangeable. The big brand is First Texas. Let's talk about them and whether or not you should consider building with them. Let's get into it. So First Texas has been building in the DFW market for almost 50 years. I think it's 45 to be exact. And they have built a ton of homes. They're probably one of the larger builders here in DFW. They're also going to build it a little bit higher of a price point, but we'll get into that. So 45 years, and they build and believe that it's the client's opportunity to incorporate their vision into their home. So what does that mean? It means that almost anything can be changed. It means that most of their designs are not done by packages. It means you have a ton of customization. Like I said, it's not a full custom home. You're not, moving tons of walls and redrawing floor plans and things like that. But you do have the flexibility with First Texas to kind of mesh some things together and really allow your vision to come out in these homes. What I love about them is they have the track record again in almost 45 or almost 50 years. I can pretty much, I don't know about you, but I can kind of spot a First Texas home. I think they build a solid quality home. They've also got, floor plans that are highly recognizable in their catalog, that when you see them, you're like, oh yeah, that's a First Texas home. They've built in a lot of the right spaces, in the parts of the Metroplex that have grown. They're not just on the outskirts. They're not just, all these places where you're going to drive hour to the, zoo or to the airport or wherever. They were in places that were kind of part of that first boom of DFW 10, 15 years ago. They're still in those places, and they've expanded out even further here in DFW. So you'll see a lot of First Texas, I think, around DFW. And personally, I think they're a builder that you should probably consider taking a look at. So like I said earlier, I think they built a great two-story home. One of the things I love about First Texas is a lot of their floor plans. When you look at that two-story, you get the like two-story ceilings. Sometimes that's like when you buy a two-story, that's what you want. And sometimes you kind of get that cut off and you still get the short ceiling. But with First Texas, they do a really good job of having lots of two-story plans that have that higher living room ceiling that you could look at, and you look up and you're like, oh, that's a 10, 15, whatever foot ceiling. And it makes those rooms feel bigger. They also do a really good job of building with design in mind for things like double ovens, butler's pantries, curved staircases on the entryway. I think overall, their design quality is really good. Here's what I would say. Coming into 2023, I think their design quality was good, but I think if I'm honest, I think they were a little bit dated. They, again, designed well, but they hadn't really revamped some of the things. They still had, arches, and we're still in that brown sort of tone. Here's what I'll tell you. I've been in several First Texas models recently, talked to a few of their sales reps. They've actually gone through and revamped a ton of their floor plans. Made some changes, made some updates, removed the archways and kind of squared some things off, which is, more kind of on design trend for where things are heading. Elongated fireplaces, changed out light fixture packages, changed out flooring packages, removed some of those browns and gone kind of the lighter tones, the grays, what's more what you see in design trend, black and gold. So they've revamped their catalog, which I really appreciate, because from a quality standpoint, they were there. Now from a design standpoint, they're continuing to push forward and really reach the next generation of home buyers. Let's take a look at their website, kind of walk you through some things, show you where they're building, their price points, their communities. I think you will hopefully be surprised when it comes to First Texas. So let's jump in and look at their website. So this is the First Texas website. You'll see, like I said, as you see those pictures scrolling, you'll see what I was talking about earlier with those higher ceilings. And again, where they're removing those kind of rounded archways, moving into something more squared off. They're advertising right now $20,000 in closing costs, of course, with their preferred lender on quick move-in homes. But here's what I want to show you. Is when we go down and we look at communities. And I think I counted 45 different communities that they have going for them right now. So you look at the communities in Dallas-Fort Worth area, they are all over the map, which I really, really appreciate. So, they're from Anna down to Waxahachie, over to Fort Worth. They're in Rockwall and Forney. There's all of these different places, up toward Denton. Like I said, 45 different communities. Here's the other thing that I will tell you that I appreciate about them. So kind of price point wise, when you're looking at them, you're going to find a few communities that start in that mid-3 range. So for example, the Villages at Hurricane Creek in Anna, they've got plans starting at $379. If you go out toward like Las Lomas, which is technically Forney/Terrell, they've got stuff starting in the 350s. The majority of their product, however, is probably going to fall in the I would say 400 to 700 range, I think, is where the majority of the First Texas product, by the time you do all of your design, and remember, they're going to give you full design option. But here's the interesting thing. I was talking to one of the sales reps in Las Lomas, and she was telling me that they're actually adding in some packages, which I think it provides some healthy balance, right? Because some people want to be able to choose every single thing in their home, right? But some people, if we're honest, it's a decision fatigue thing. And so they want to just say, hey, just let me pick a few things here and there, and let's go that way. So they're kind of adding in a hybrid approach, but what I appreciate. So like I said, some starting in the mid-3s, like, and the one in Anna, the one in Forney, most of their product is going to be in that let's call it 420 to let's call it 7 range. But here's one of the things that I appreciate about First Texas. So like when we scroll through their community listings, here's what you're going to see. So like large lots and green belts. I love that they're advertising that. Large and oversized lots. Final opportunity, now selling 60 and 70 foot large lots available in Prosper. Final opportunities, phase 2, final opportunities, 347 acre. So final opportunity again, 60 and 70 or 70 and 80 wide tree-lined lots. So when you look at that and you're like, what does that mean? Most builders right now, a lot of builders are trying to build in the 40 to 50 foot and a little bit in the 60 foot range, because that means they can squeeze more houses into these developments. A lot of what First Texas is doing is saying, hey, we're going to go the opposite direction. We're actually going to try and build on larger lots. So like I said, 70 and 80 foot. We've got some half-acre lots in some of these communities that they're working on. So oversized lots available there. Half-acre lots. There's another one coming in. Where did I see that? Was it Ovilla? So half-acre lots. So a lot of what you're seeing First Texas doing is saying, hey, we're actually going to give you a little bit bigger lot, which I think plays into their pricing, why they're probably a little bit more expensive than maybe some other builders in this same quality or criteria, is because they're saying, hey, we are giving you more land, more opportunity, so you're not as close to your neighbors. So if you're looking for something in a subdivision that's a developed subdivision, but is actually going to give you a little bit more space, First Texas would probably be one of those builders that we should definitely take a look at. I want to take a minute and I want to show you a couple of their floor plans of kind of where they're building, and again, give you an idea of what you're getting for their price and continue talking about their website. As we get ready to do that, here's what I would ask from you. We're putting out videos every single week, 3 of them actually, about builders, about new communities, about model homes, about the market here in DFW. The easiest way to stay up to date and kind of stay in with that is hit the subscribe button. I know that sounds vain on my part, and I don't mean it to be. I'm just trying to be a resource to you and your family any way I can. So a subscription, hit the subscribe button. Like I said, you'll know what's going on here in DFW. Try to be as transparent as I possibly can. If you find value in this video, hit the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Share it with somebody who's thinking about building a First Texas home. Just, again, want to provide information because there's a ton of different builders and a ton of different options you could look at. So whatever I can do to help and be a resource with that, I want to do that. So pause from that. Let's jump back in. And I want to look at a couple of their homes and kind of talk some more about what's going on their website. So let's look at homes. And actually, I want to start in Solterra. So Solterra is a new master plan community coming to Mesquite. I think it's going to have some really cool features with a ton of great builders. First Texas being one of those. So again, they're starting at $434,950 there. Plans available. Here's the cool thing. Most of their plans, they carry a lot of the same plans throughout the majority of their neighborhoods. So like when you click, you can click on their plans. So if you can't find that particular plan, you can find one that's probably pretty similar. So like, let's just say, for example, the Hillcrest had some friends that built this plan in another neighborhood. Kind of give you an idea for their floor plan for this Hillcrest. You've got a downstairs study, a curved staircase, living flex, family room, primary suite, and then game room, media room upstairs. What I also like about their website is if you find a plan you like, they will actually show you, hey, this is all the communities that you can build this particular plan in. So if you're looking and you say, hey, we found the plan, we like this, there's all the communities that plan can be built in. They'll go through the amenities and the details, and then they have tons of different elevations. So all these different elevation options with this plan. So even if you find a plan that's similar, there's a good chance that that house is not going to look exactly like your house does. One of the things I wish they would do on their website that more and more builders have done, I wish these plans were interactive. You know, you see so many builders that you can like toggle the little switch and it, you know, turns on the bay window, or it turns on the different bath, or it turns on whatever. I kind of wish First Texas would kind of get on board with something like that to show, you know, potential changes that you can make to your plans. Obviously, they're going to, you know, allow you to do some of that customization in design. Of course, that you are going to pay to make those changes, but it would be cool, and it's always helpful, I think, to see that visually on a builder's website and be able to look at what changes can be made. If we come up to the top and we look at their quick move in, I wish I could kind of tell you the number, but they're kind of organized, and I'm not sure how I feel about this. So they organized it, you know, by community, right? So let's just check quick move-ins. Let's come out here by me and let's go to Fate. This is going to be in Wood Creek, so a couple of quick move-ins. So this is that same plan we were just looking at in Solterra. This is a Hillcrest with a media room, 6 beds, 4 bath, 4,000 square feet, priced at $685 with a third car garage. A lot of their plans do, again, have that option for the third car garage because they're building on larger lots in a lot of spaces. So you do have the ability to get that without sacrificing house, because a lot of times you'll find builders will say, oh yeah, we'll give you a third car garage, but you end up losing tons of space on the inside, or tons of living space to get that to fit on those smaller lots. With First Texas being on those larger lots, you don't really lose that a ton in build space. Talked a little earlier in the video about the revamp that they did of their designs. I'm actually going to put a couple pictures on the screen, probably over my shoulder here, of what they've actually done, because this is really interesting. I took this picture actually out in Las Lomas a couple weeks ago in their model home, and they've upgraded their standard design sheet. So things like a California kitchen, a butler's pantry, a circular staircase, you know, the fireplaces, the larger shower, and a freestanding tub. They're saying, you know, that's, hey, probably $25,000 in design that we're making as standard features going into our newer communities, which I think is awesome. So they're doing that kind of as an incentive. You'll also see them talk about, again, on this same picture. So they've got a couple different incentives. They've got your financing incentive. You know, it's that, you know, up to $20K that they're talking about with their lender. And then they're talking about design incentives. So if you're thinking about going into First Texas and designing and not moving into something on a quick move in, they're giving, you know, design incentive. Hey, save 10K when you spend this much, save 20K when you spend this much in design. And to be honest, in most builders' design centers, it's easy to spend that money. You'll very quickly walk in, you'll be like, oh my gosh, we just spent a ton. But First Texas is helping with some of the changes that they're making that are now included upgrades. One of the other things First Texas does that I really appreciate that's kind of unique is they recognize that when you buy a new home, you're probably going to want new furniture. That's just kind of the way it goes. You have to, you know, get more furniture. Your furniture doesn't fit, whatever. So they actually have a partnership with Nebraska Furniture Mart, and they're usually giving gift cards, and those gift cards vary based on, you know, season and when you're closing and things like that. Usually somewhere between that $2,000 and $5,000 range to Nebraska Furniture Mart for you to go shopping, because what they don't want you doing is shopping before you close and messing up your loan. So one of the only builders that does that. I think it's, you know, I think it's a nice feature. Again, you're probably paying for it on the other end in pricing and things like that, but it still feels generous. Want to go back to their website because I also want to show you this on their website too, that I think is, I appreciate that they're transparent with and that they talk about. So on their website, if you click on the Heroes tab, you'll see, you know, click here to learn more. So they are trying to do things for first responders, military, nurses, teachers, healthcare professionals, government employees. So these are kind of some of the offers and incentives, and they kind of line this out of things they're doing if you fall into one of those categories. So again, I appreciate that. So we're talking about the gift card, you know, $5,000 in options, $1,000 toward your appraisal, Home Pro, which is, you know, home security and automation, things like that, closet design. So they've done a really good job building out some partnerships that I think are helpful, and they've done a good job of just kind of putting these forward facing so that you can see them on their website. One of my downsides, I would say, to First Texas is probably still the timeline it takes them to build. You know, all the builders through the pandemic were having extended timelines. I think First Texas, for whatever reason, their timelines got really extended. We had some friends who waited almost 2 years for their home to build. They contracted in August of 20 and then didn't move in until spring of 22. Took them a long time to get into their home. Their timelines have gotten better. They're still probably quoting in most neighborhoods 8 to 10 months if you do a full build job. So something just to be mindful of. And that might actually play to your advantage if you need to get out of a lease or you need to sell another property or whatever. So that would probably be one of my downsides to them. As always, if you go and you read reviews online, you're probably going to find a mixed bag. People either love them or hate them. And so much of that has to do with your sales counselor, your builder, your community. There's so many things that go into that. So when you read those reviews online, take them with a grain of salt, please. Again, every builder there's always going to be imperfections. There's always going to be things that go wrong. What we want to know is what they're doing to make those things right. And from my experience, I feel like First Texas has done a good job of taking care of clients where they can and when they can to make those mistakes right when they happen. So overall, I would tell you, First Texas is definitely a home builder I would consider. If you're looking, again, they're in pretty much most places in the Metroplex. If you've got a little bit more budget to spend, you're looking for a larger lot or a larger home, definitely consider looking at First Texas. Ask lots of questions and just say, hey, maybe this is the builder for me. And of course, please don't go talk to any builder without your realtor. That is a super important key to all of this. You don't have to have a realtor, but it's super important that you do to advocate for you, to answer questions for you, to just kind of make sure things move along smoothly and you get into your new house. If you need somebody to represent you, I would be honored to do that for you and your family, to help walk you through building with First Texas or buying a First Texas home or any other builder here in DFW. Or maybe you say, hey, you don't want to build and you're trying to sell or you're trying to buy, resell. Anything when it comes to real estate, I'd love to help you any way I can, but I can't help you if you don't reach out. So contact information is going to be right here at the bottom of the video. Call, text, email, whatever works for you, you can do that. If you want to browse new construction homes that are done, move-in ready with some great incentives, there's a link down below that you can do that as well. Kind of show you some great inventory homes that you could look at that are new construction. And lastly, if you need to book some time in my calendar, you can do that in the description down below. Guys, thanks so much. I appreciate your time. I love getting to grow with you and have this conversation. If you built a First Texas home, let me know down in the comments. Love to hear your thoughts. Or if you're looking for another builder or insight from another builder, let me know that down in the comments as well. And we'll add them to our list of people that we need to cover. Thanks so much for hanging out today. We'll see you in our next video. Bye for now.